Hey Insider, let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered when you, for example, you're in a room and somebody walks in and they like ooze power, charisma, and likability? Have you ever wondered, wow, how's that happening? Well, the reality is they've mastered what is called body language. And they've often, I found, most people aren't naturals when it comes to this. They've studied the processes, and this is how successful people today, they get advantage over the majority of people who don't know or understand this stuff. Because at the end of the day, when you want to be more successful, it's about understanding that your net worth is in your network. So being able to expand your network, being able to influence people is what's going to make you more successful. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to break down the 5 body language secrets that successful people utilize in order to create influence and connection like no other. And so without further ado, make sure to pay close attention and let's go on to the first point, which is about utilizing what's called a facial triangle. Now, if I was to just gaze at you in the eyes, okay, just constantly, just in the eyes and not break eye contact, it's gonna seem really, really weird, right? But some people do it because when I was shy, when I was an introvert, I heard about the importance of making eye contact, and I was so scared, especially when it came to girls making eye contact. And so I just took this to an extreme level and I just stared at the girl's eyes like this. And I remember wondering why girls seemed always freaked out by myself. And I found it's because I was just gazing at their eyes without blinking, right? Now, what facial triangle is about having a look, realizing that you should glance at both eyes, then down to the mouth. And if you do this just naturally, by the way, it shouldn't be like synchronized, like, because it's going to be so weird, okay? It's going to be natural. Just watch somebody who's naturally good at communicating. Watch how they communicate. You can watch the videos, for example, interviews of successful people. Watch how they communicate. And they're constantly not just gazing here at the eyes, they're also looking down as well. It's very natural. And what you're doing when you're looking at the mouth, you're also signifying subconsciously that you're listening to them. And so the first secret is to utilize what is called a facial triangle. Go check it out online. There's a lot of studies as well as some further information in regards to this. It's definitely worth adopting for those of you who are not aware of this strategy. Now, let's go on to the second secret. Second secret is slouching, okay? Now, if you look at successful people, when they are, for example, in communication, or when they walk into the room, you can tell instantly they're oozing power. You can often tell who are celebrities in the room from those who aren't, because the way they're composing themselves. I found when I used to game a lot when I was a child. I used to be addicted to these like online multiplayer games and so forth. And as a result, I was just constantly slouching just on my computer because I wasn't watching my posture. And yet I often heard from my mum, stand up straight, sit up straight. But I didn't like it. I was resisting, any orders from school teachers to my mum. But now I understand why people are saying that. How the society always says, sit up straight. Not only is it good for our composure, but it's also how we're perceived. I remember when I was younger trying to get a job and I would walk in slouching. I was hanging around with very negative people who were like, I suppose dead broke like myself, and as a result we just used to look lazy. Thus we people think we're lazy because at the end of the day people make millisecond judgment in regards to how we are based upon the body language, right? And so if you're a sloucher, you want to make a conscious habit of constantly standing up straight, sitting up straight. It makes a huge difference. It also shows respect to the other person, because if you look like you're hating the conversation, even if you're loving it, but if your body language is showing it, like this, for example, imagine that I'm doing this video, I'm like this. Hey Insiders, I hope you're well. Today I want to show you, like, you can tell how I'm just not engaging. But if I sit up straight and I'm like, hey Insiders, so I'm going to show you the power of not slouching and what you should do instead, you can tell a big difference. So make a conscious habit of never slouching again. Just sit up straight, especially when you're communicating with the other person. That is the second secret. Now let's go on to the third secret. The third secret is to not cross your arms. And this is a very common knowledge, and I still see so many people, naturally they create a habit of just constantly crossing their arms like this. And I know what you're thinking, sometimes you're cold or what, but it sends off a very much a negative energy to the other person. Because compare the difference. I could talk to you right now like this or like this. One of the things I've noticed that I was doing when I was beginning to be on stages and learning how to be a public speaker, I realized I always used to put my hands in my pocket. I always used to cross my arms because I was nervous, right? I still am an introvert to this day, but I've mastered the art of being an extrovert through public speaking training and so forth. Now, I always used to do this. But just compare it right now. You can see the huge difference. So you want to make sure that consciously you're making a habit of being in an open body language. That way the other person perceives that you're open opposed to being closed to their information. If somebody's talking to you and you're doing this, you're sending off wrong signals, and that's not what you want to get across. Because what if that person's like an investor, right? And you're just like, yeah, I want the investment. This business I'm creating is the best. They're just not going to buy it. Okay, so make sure to stop crossing your arms. Now let's go on to the fourth point. The fourth point is inconsistency with what you're saying and how you're perceived through body language. For example, some people say to me nowadays, I see it nowadays when I'm running these events all across the globe, and I say to somebody who wants to try public speaking for the first time, they raise their hands, they go onto the stage, and they grab the mic. They're normally shaking like this. Normally the whole body's sometimes shaking, right? I've definitely been there. And they're like, and I say, okay, I want you to introduce yourself and tell a really cool fact about yourself. And they say something on the lines of, hey, my name is John, and I'm really happy to be here. And everyone's just like looking around, just thinking, wow, this person seems so happy, right? Now, this is over exaggeration, of course. But I found when people are communicating, because they've not practiced, and by the way, I want you to realize I'm not a natural. This is what I was saying at UCL a couple of days ago, which is one of the top prestigious universities I was being invited to guest lecture at. I was saying I'm not a natural. I've just practiced loads of times, for example, on camera, in the mirror, and I've practiced how am I using my hands, right? Am I open body language? How am I, for example, talking? Am I smiling when I'm saying something that's happy? Or am I frowning when I'm saying something I don't like? Because sometimes, have you ever met somebody, for example, let me ask you, have you ever met somebody where they say, oh, I really understand what you mean. Like, say you went through something that's terrible and you want them to feel how you feel, but then they're smiling constantly, right? That is also inconsistency as well. Because if you just constantly smile, it's also deemed as fake, right? I'm sure some of you are probably like, yeah, I've met those people who constantly smile and they never stop smiling. So you don't want to be one of those people as well. There has to be consistency behind what you're saying and your body language as well. That is the fourth point. The fifth point is exaggerated nodding. All right, I'm sure you've met those people who are constantly like this, right? And in some cultures, by the way, this is the norm. In fact, this was a habit I had to break. But I want to notice whilst I'm doing this and speaking how it's really, really irritating, and especially if you're talking to me, right? Imagine I'm just doing this, right? And I'm sure you've met people who just constantly just nod, and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. In Seoul, South Korea, when I was growing up, we often, when we're in conversation, we're constantly doing this because it's a sign of respect. However, if we're constantly doing this is going to be very irritating. And in fact, the condition I went through in Seoul, South Korea was we also have to say, like, for example, yes or ne. It was in Korea, it was just constantly saying ne, like that. And I came to England thinking that was the polite way of communicating with others, and everyone just thought I was really, really strange. I remember the conversation would run so thin. I'm sure you've had experience where you want to speak with somebody for a long duration of time, but then the conversation gets shut down straight away. It's because what you're putting out there in regards to subconscious signals through body language like this. Because when you're just constantly nodding yes, what you're saying to the other person is you want that conversation to stop, because you're saying that's how they're perceiving it. Because if you're saying, oh yeah, I went on holiday, and you're constantly like this, what you're sending out is you want to be able to talk, right? And this is why, yes, to this day, I do nod when I'm listening. However, I also know when to stop and just be still. So you want to make sure that you become conscious of these habits, because communication is such a vital skill if you want to be successful. You've got to be able to expand your network. You've got to be able to reach out to mentors, and you've got to be able to sell to your clients if you're in business right now. And that comes from mastering communication. So I hope you found this video helpful, by the way. If you have, be sure to click the like button and comment below in regards to any takeaways, feedback, or whatever questions, and share this video, by the way. That's very important because there's so much power to paying it forward to other people. So share this video on Facebook or YouTube or what to other people, right? Because I believe in the power of contribution. And if you found today's video particularly helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel because we publish more videos like this. And as always, Insider, follow your heart, my friend, and take action. And let's go create the life you're truly born to live. See you on the next video soon. Take care.